All right, everybody. Let's see here if we can get this. Pardon me while I get situated. There we go. Let's see if that will be okay. Yeah, I think so. Alright, everyone, so today I would like to go over a very simple forest background. So I've done a couple of different background tutorials, and all of them have been fairly abstract or very simple so far. So I thought I would go for something that is equally easy, however, maybe looks a little bit more fancy. So I'm going to start off first with PC 909 Grass Green, this color here. And my whole objective with this is just to create kind of like a soft, fuzzy, faded out forest background. So I'm going to start just laying in different tree shapes. So I'm going to start, let's see, we've got some bells and things happening, so I kind of want like a branch, and I'm starting with green, and I know that the bark is not green, but doing the tree trunks first as a green color will help. If you make a mistake, it helps kind of cover it, because then you can just turn it into a bunch of leaves or something. So I'm just loosely filling in different tree shapes, and you can do whatever tree shapes you want. This is really, there's no right or wrong. And the nice thing about trees is that they come in all different shapes and sizes. But I'm going more for like the jungle tree type look. So I'm doing some like trees with like really heavy looking branches. Okay, and so now and you can see I'm sort of establishing lights and darks, but I'm not doing it very detailed right now. Okay, so maybe I want another tree to come up through the center here, so I'm going to start it, and this will push it back in space when you let it overlap with the foreground elements. So now I want her wings to be semi-transparent, so I'm just going to draw straight through them. And that's another reason I wanted that tree there, is having something dark going through a set of wings makes it look very transparent very quickly. Okay. And maybe I'll have a branch coming out so it'll be softer through the wings, and then as I come out of the wings, it's like softer and fuzzier inside the wings, and then outside the wings is darker and more distinct. But if you do not have wings in your particular coloring book page, you can just ignore that bit. So I'm just making the base just a little bit wider so that way there's, see, sometimes there's what they call tangent when some items overlap in a funny way. So this branch was kind of like cutting off that tree branch in a weird way. So instead I corrected it by making the tree trunk wider so that way it would just completely envelop that object and sort of take that weird awkwardness out of it. Okay, so you can see already how I am just quickly, now I am just, for the purposes of this demo, just doing this very quickly. Obviously later on, if I was really wanting to take this further, I really could, but I'm just showing you guys how it's done. So now I'm going to go in with PC 943 Burnt Ochre, and since I like the placement of these trees, now I'm going to go in and just overlap the color. And now already it's taking it into the brown spectrum. I'm also now paying attention to where my light source is. In this particular image, I'm kind of having it come from behind and be backlit. But you can choose any light source you desire. Just remember then, once you choose it, to keep that in mind throughout the entire course of your drawing. And now that I've got the base branches, now I'm going to go in and start making smaller little branches. And I'm not doing them very hard. The reason being is that those small little branches will have some they'll have some leaves on them. So I want those branches to sort of just be like bare skeletons, so that way I can kind of decide where the leaves go later. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I picked 3 main trees. I like picking things in odd numbers, so 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and so forth. So depending on your particular image, you may want to choose a different number, but I always find that odd numbers look very, very nice on images. So that's just some key little thing, and actually my mother taught that to me when I was a little girl. My mom is also very artistic, and so she taught me that things look best. And I like 3, but you can pick whatever number suits you. So now I'm going to go in again. And so you can see how the green is just sort of living underneath that brown, and it's not really competing with the brown. But I've made mistakes with placement of trees, and then that green layer is very nice and handy, because then I can shift the area where the tree is and just cover my mistake with leaves. Works really well. So if you're not sure where to put the trees and you're just sort of playing around with that placement, go ahead and do it in green first. Just don't press real hard on the green, so that way you can get some layers of brown over it later. And since my trees are backlit, the heaviest brown will be in the center of the tree. Now again, I'm drawing through the wings, but just sort of fuzzy and softer. And then when it comes outside the wings, more distinct and darker. So you can see already how the wings are starting to look transparent. This is my trick for making anything look transparent, so you can use this for fish fins, for any kind of object. Just make sure to throw something dark behind the wings that shows that it's transparent. and then just continue to draw it through the object, and just make sure that when you hit the object it's softer and fuzzier, and bam, it looks so transparent. It's so fun. Love that technique. So hey, look at this, we're doing a tree background and a transparent wing background tutorial all in one. I was not planning that, but hey, you know what? This page is perfect for that. So you see how I had green here, now I've refined it with the, so that's where the green is useful. Because like, you know, when you're first starting a drawing, you just kind of want to throw down basic ideas. You don't want to be fussed with the particular details quite then. So having that green layer kind of allows you to do that and not worry too much if you have to adjust it. See, I've adjusted that branch, but it will look fine. You won't even know that that was a mistake once I've put on some leaves in that area. Okay, so now you can see how I've got the basic trees down. Now I'm going to take this same color and very, very lightly just start making vertical lines that go. Now make sure to draw through each object, so that's good. Now I'm just basically creating the background trees. So just make sure that your your pencil lines are just in an up and down stroke. Now I'm just figuring out basically the background placement of the background trees, the trees that are much farther away. Okay. And you can see again I'm drawing through the wings. Alright, so now that those background trees are in, now I'm going to take another color. So let's go with, I'm going to start out with this Celadon green. This is PC 1020 Celadon green. So I'm going to go on the top of the page and just very gently and softly add some background leaves to the top of the page. This is basically just a background base coat, so you can put this anywhere where you see white. Again, drawing through the fairy wings. Now I'm leaving a little bit of white on the fairy wings so that way I can put in her fairy wing colors. And I will also be using white gel pen on that. But I am doing this very quickly. Obviously, you would take your time and really get all of the nooks and crannies. But again, I am just going very quickly just to show you guys what I'm up to. So I like this green because it has a lot of gray in it. So it's perfect for a base coat. Kind of just shows you where, oh, that's all foreground. So again, I'm just doing background in this demo. This is part of the background tutorial series. Okay, so now that we have that base color down, I'm just sort of going over some areas that I've missed or that I did really, really sloppy. Okay, so now that we have that base coat down, Now I'm going to go ahead and pick a darker color. So now I'm picking up again my PC 909 grass green, and now I'm going to go ahead and around the main branches in the foreground trees, I'm going to go ahead and with circular motions and little jibby-jabby motions, just sort of like irregular mark making, just go ahead and fill in some leaves. So it really doesn't matter exactly where you put these shapes, as long as they're around the branches that you've already established, then it will look very realistic. So you can see I'm just sort of picking out wherever my branches are and just putting these swirly shapes like so. All right. So then after I do that, then what I'm going to do is now take a gray or green. So I'm going to pick here olive green. This is PC 911. This is a much darker green, but it is much grayer. And now just gently fill in the background behind the main trees. Just fill in wherever you feel might have some darkness. So it can be at the top and there are leaves back there, or it can be at the bottom and maybe it's underbrush, but just anywhere where you feel needs a little bit of a darker touch, like so. Okay, so I'm really just working on this side of the drawing for the most part. Alright, so you can already see how this forest background is starting to take shape, but I'm going to take it even a step further and throw in some yellows into this top bit area. So I'm going to use PC 942 yellow ochre, and just over the areas where I had the grass green, just introduce some yellow ochre in some spots. The key with making things look natural is to have a lot of different color variation. So that's why you see me mixing a lot of different colors in together. Just by adding it in some spots here and there really gives a really nice effect, almost like sun dappling. Like so. And now maybe for some of the woodsy far background trees, I'm going to grab PC 1082 chocolate and just go ahead and go over some of those trees, just some here and there, just to make them really pop, just bring them forward a little bit more and in space. I'm also putting some of this dark brown color in the leaves again, just to introduce color variation. You know, sometimes when you look at leaves, there's so many different colors in there. So just adding, what I try and do is in the leaves, I try and add just about every color that I add somewhere else. So that way the leaves really feel like they're like a combination of everything in the drawing. So that's sort of a nice trick if you did not know that technique. So now I'm just adding detail and more variation. Now, as another final finishing touch, I'm going to grab another different green. So let's use PC908 dark green. And let's just give some definition to this canopy here. So I'm going to, in certain spots, just pick out with the dark green some shadowy leaves. And now kind of just trying to pick a leaf shape and sort of sticking with it. And so you can see how this just brings more dimensionality to the drawing. Like so. So I would take this much further and keep adding more and more layer and so forth, but you can see the basic general structure is very simple. The background is just mostly vertical strokes. The foreground trees need to have some different personality, but the background trees can just be, you know, very vertical mark making, and that's it. And just mixing your browns and your greens together until you get a really nice finished result. So, you know, if you have a scene that looks like it could use a woodsy background, please feel free to try these techniques and let me know what you think. And I'm going to stop this video here only because it's actually the end of my lunch break and I need to get back to work. But I thought that I would record this really quick for you guys, just as a quick demo, to hopefully help you out with your next forest background picture. So thank you again for watching, and I hope that this was helpful. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and give me a comment if you've got something else to say. And as always, please, I hope you have a wonderful, magical time coloring.